Born in Buffalo, New York, John Pelletier is the first non-Hawaiian to lead the police force. According to Hawaii News Now, his selection came in an effort to push for transparency and accountability within the force. Hawaii News Now also reports that Pelletier is a third-generation police officer currently residing in Wailuku, Hawaii. As per John's page, he graduated from the FBI National Academy, attending FBINA 276 and the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
We're going to create MMAC, the Maui PD Multicultural Advisory Council, which is where we get the chance to have a cross-section of the community and maybe community members that feel disenfranchised or not listened to actually speak to the deputy and myself, but that we can hear directly from them on different challenges, barriers, and things like that, so we can create lokahi, so we can actually really be unified. And that is a priority, so much.
Wow, wouldn't it be great if you actually did that during this disaster?
Find some of the complaints against Police Chief John Pelletier unworthy of disciplinary action, this after a unanimous vote Wednesday. The commission reviewed 3 of the complaints made by Maui Police Department employees against the chief, which alleges violations in policy and procedure.
2 sworn officers and 1 civilian employee of the department against Police Chief John Pelletier.
The commission heard from concerned members of the community about the allegations.
This isn't about discounting experiences. This is about showing that instead of providing a space to heal the trauma of real experiences, MPD workplace culture only deepens those wounds through political, reactive action that is convenient or beneficial to further agendas rooted in egotistical power grabs.
However, Shobo says there's multiple complaints still under investigation. It expects those complaints to be investigated fully and fairly based on evidence.
Top cop under fire tonight for creating what some say is a hostile work environment.
This all comes after months of complaints about how low morale at the Maui Police Department is happening. Some say the climate is pushing many officers to consider leaving the force. KITV4's A'ali Iduklo has new details about the ongoing strife at MPD.
Maui Police Chief John Pelletier has been on the job for about 7 months now and has racked up 7 official work environment complaints. The employees who filed the grievances don't want to speak out because of fear of retaliation, but former ranking officers speaking on their behalf tell me one involves a woman who was cursed at during the meeting, and that working under Pelletier has led her and several others to seek help from psychiatrists and anxiety medication.
It was no leadership, it was a dictatorship.
Former Maui Police Department Lieutenant William Hankins had more than 30 years of service under his belt. Hankins worked under 5 different chiefs, but says he retired early because of Pelletier, alleging the recently installed head created what he calls a hostile and toxic work environment from the very first meeting.
Telling the command staff that if you don't agree with him and support him, he's going to fillet you.
People walking around on eggshells, nobody wants to say anything.
After 28 years in the force, former Assistant Chief Clyde Holokai also retired early because of Pelletier's management. Holokai and Hankins agree the internal friction at MPD is unprecedented. For whole employees at MPD, the police union surveyed 60% of its personnel back in April, with a third of them reporting they are thinking of leaving within the next 2 years. Many citing morale as a top reason for considering a departure. The Maui Police Department is already 100 officers short.
The results were quite alarming.
Workers surveyed also gave Pelletier poor scores on 12 out of 13 categories. One question asks whether the chief fosters strong morale, with most responding not very well or not well at all.
People are making a big deal out of that. He was also the guy in charge of the Las Vegas Strip when there was the Las Vegas shooting massacre. So he goes from one unbelievable tragedy in America 4,000 miles away to the next big, huge crash. People are saying it's suspect.
Maybe it's different for you because you just got here, huh? So it's not the same.
So she's saying maybe it's different for you because you just got here, meaning he just moved to Maui. He was living in Las Vegas. He was the cop in charge of the Las Vegas Strip during the massacre there, and she's saying maybe you don't care because you're new here. And look at him. What kind of a person acts like this?
People here. Maybe it's different for you because you just got here, huh? So it's not the same. It's not the same. No comment? No comment right now, man. Wow. I'm talking to the chief, sir. Why are you shaking your head, sir? You don't want to answer, huh? Okay.
We'll talk to you another time, guys.
Yeah, we won't talk to us another time. That's the thing. It's a very cowardly move. Shocking. Well, you're not.
He's been doing good work. He's interviewing as many people as he can find to talk about what happened. And here's one guy he found.
I think we should get out of here because of the speed of this wind. It could be here in 2 minutes. And
so about what time was this at? By the way, if you guys don't know who this is Fish. He's been sitting next to Cheeseburger in Paradise selling the most awesome stuff, right, for years. He's like a legend, and everyone loves Fish, and Fish loves everybody. But he's one of the wisest people that I know, the way. Anyway, Fish, continue.
So I went around back to Front Street, and all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the Chart House. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end, and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind, no cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waikuli Beach, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Like where the restaurant is?
Right, where the Chart House.
Where the Chart House was, I should say. There was a blockade there, and they could not go any.
Right. What the hell? I walked all the way from Safeway to there. Not one car had moved. But all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center. And then I started hearing all the explosions, and there was no one walking behind me or on bicycles or anything. And I just...
Dude, that is unbelievable.
I had no idea, until the next day when I walked down there of what had happened.
So there you go. So you tell me what's going on with this police chief.
22, it was a dictatorship. Former Maui police officers shine light on complaints against the department. Let me read some of it for you. And this is why the FBI thing is important. Since being sworn in back in December, 7 employees have filed hostile work environment complaints against Maui Police Department Chief John Pelletier. Former ranking officers said that employees who submitted the grievances did not want to speak out over fear of retaliation, but noted one of the complaints involves a woman who was cursed at during a meeting, and that working under Pelletier has led her and several others to seek help from psychiatrists and anxiety medication. Quote, there was no leadership, it was a dictatorship, said former MPD Lieutenant William Hankins, who has 30 years of service under his belt. Hankins added he worked under 5 different chiefs, but he retired early because of Pelletier, alleging the recently installed MPD head created what he called an, quote, extremely toxic environment, end quote, from his very first meeting. Quote, Pelletier was telling the command staff that if you don't agree with him and support him, he's going to fillet you. It sounds to me a lot like he was using FBI tactics of how you break people down in order to create like an undying loyalty. They won't ask any more questions. They'll just do whatever you say because they're constantly walking on eggshells. And this answers the question of how on earth Maui Hawaiian locals who were police, how they were blocking off traffic on Front Street because they were following orders. And today I saw a video because of Pelletier's management describing it in quite alarming, end quote, state of Hawaii organizers of police officers. President Robert Kavako said. Workers surveyed also gave Pelletier poor scores on 12 out of 13 categories. One question asked whether the chief fosters strong morale, with most responding not very well or not well at all. The police union is waiting on the findings of the complaint probes to determine next steps. This tells me that they were planning to do what they did all the way back then when they installed him in December of 2021. And he got installed and began breaking people down, weeding them out, and only the loyal remained, the worker bees remained, the ones that would just follow orders remain, all leading up to this.
The street so people couldn't get out. But the people trying to escape in those cars that you see burnt, they were blockaded in there. The water was shut off. Firefighters couldn't find us. The local people couldn't save their own homes. School was canceled that day. You had children, our keiki, babies, and elderly trapped in the homes. That's who they're recovering. As a Hawaii native, as somebody born and raised on the island of Maui, as somebody who has family and friends and community over there, please keep talking about it. Please keep talking about it. Share videos, comment on posts, like videos. Even if it feels icky liking them, it helps the algorithm. Push this message, push their messages out. Make sure the world knows what is happening, what is really going on, because it's true, and they're painting a different picture, and they're trying to create division, and they're going to put the blame on the power company, or on the firefighters, or the first responders. They're following orders.
Going to check on some customers' properties, and all of a sudden, all the roads were being blocked off right in front of me, and from the cops. And I would go to the next street, and that would be blocked off, and the next one, and they just blocked everything off, forced everybody down on Front Street, in which then the flames were coming over our vehicles. I was going down the highway, and they blocked it off and wouldn't let me go any further. They stopped us from going up on the bypass.
So you couldn't go up the bypass?
No. And then all of a sudden they said, get off this highway, go down this way, down into town. Then they started blocking everything off there, and then you were down on Front Street.
So you got corralled onto Front Street?
Yes, couldn't go anywhere. They just said, go north, go north, go north. And we're all in a line trying to get to the end of Front Street to go north, like they told us to, not knowing that the police blocked off the end of Front Street so nobody could move. And then everybody panicked. Everybody went up on the sidewalks and through yards, took out the other lane. And then all of a sudden, nobody could move anywhere. The cops were moving around one exit, so I ended up getting up on the highway, even though they tried to direct me another way, and then I hightailed it to home.